It's the Dreamscape Empyrean.
Welcome back, dreamers, to the Indie Synergy Exchange Podcast. I'm your host, Tanner Giese, also known as Number 2 Pencil Man. And joining me once again, I have my lovely co-host, my wife, Katie Giese, author and poet, our mysterious, awesome artist friend, Andromeda, also known as Rachel, and Frae Official. And today, we are joined by our very first guest. Everybody give it up for the poet and published author, Caitlin Lucas.
Yeah!
Hi! Awesome.
Gotta throw in the sound bites.
Yeah, I
we
love
are
it.
back. Caitlin, it is wonderful to have you here as our first guest. I am excited. I feel like we're all excited to hear more about your story. So, let's
I'm
jump into
excited
it. Caitlin.
to meet all you guys and get to share my poetry with you. So,
That's what we love. We love art. We love independent artists, so we're here for it. So, Caitlin, let's jump right into it. Who are you and what do you do?
so I am an artist and a poet here in Pennsylvania, and I currently have 7 poetry collections that I've self-published. Um, Really, I've kind of tapped into different forms of art, but poetry is my favorite. So, um, yeah, I love writing. I dabble with paint a little bit. I work with acrylic paint and I'll do some abstract paintings. I had some of my paintings in a local gallery, but it's unfortunately since closed down. So, but I've tried to put them out there.
Nice.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Acrylic is my preferred painting medium too.
Yeah, I don't have the patience for oils. I like that acrylic dries so fast. Like sometimes
Yep.
it's not even fast enough for me. Like honestly, sometimes I get my hair blow dryer and I'm like to make it go even faster and then like if I mess up or something.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So how did you get started and what did you start with? Was it like poetry first or did you do other arts first?
So my journey into the world of art actually began with dancing. And so when I was really little, when I was 4 years old, I started doing tap dance and jazz. I even remember my first concert. I had Minnie Mouse ears and I danced to the old Mickey Mouse on, not the new Clubhouse one, but the one that's like MICKEYMOUSE. And then, and I did a little tap dance. But so I grew up doing dancing, and then when I got into high school, I had a really hard time. I was diagnosed with anorexia, and I ended up being hospitalized, and that's what led me into poetry. It was a way that I could express everything that I was going through at that time period. So just turning whatever I was feeling into something beautiful. So, and then it just kind of went on from there. Like when I never really thought that I was artistic. Like when it came to like drawing or painting, my brother was more the artist of the family. But then when I moved to Atlanta, I took some art classes and I ended up falling in love with painting. And I realized that I'm okay at it. So I like doing that too.
What kind of things do you paint?
Um, I really like to paint like fairies and mermaids and like mythical type of stuff, or
Yeah, that's
just
cool.
do abstract paintings.
Wow. So does that connect at all? Like, does that inspire the poetry, or do they feed off of each other in some way?
I think that they kind of feed off of each other. Um, so when I post my poems on Instagram, I don't actually do the art for the poetry that I post, but they're visions that I have in my head when I'm writing my poetry. So I'll take like different clip art and I'll put it together to form like whatever vision I have in my head. So yeah, when I'm writing, I am coming up with some kind of image in my head, and then sometimes that comes out in my paintings. So they're definitely
Uh,
connected.
What like how do I ask this question? Like what vibe or aura do you get from like a fairy or a siren or a mermaid? What's the concept behind it that really grasps at you? What inspires you about it?
So I had this, I wanted to do this series before of different fairies, like fairies in different environments. So I had like the rainbow fairy and I had the bumblebee fairy, and she was like flying around honeycombs, and I had the garden fairy surrounded by flowers. And I don't know, I've always liked like fairies and elves and like Lord of the Rings type stuff. So, but yeah, it's just like fairies in different pretty environments.
Did I read on your website that you studied psychology?
Yes. Yes, I have my psychology degree from West Virginia University.
Wow. That's just I don't know why that just seems to pertain to this whole thing that we're talking about, and just like when I think of mystical creatures, I just think of different parts of your brain almost expressing themselves through, subconsciously kind of coming through. And I don't know, that's just kind of my connection to it.
Yeah. No, I could definitely see that. That's a really cool view of it. I never thought about that
Yeah.
before.
Yeah.
It's just kind of my interpretation of it, but I see how that kind of connects in some interesting way.
But yeah, like each fairy is a different part of your psyche type of thing. I could see
Right.
that because like I envisioned like the gothic fairy too, like the fairy that's like in the graveyard or whatnot. So I could see it like, like the fairy of like sadness and pain, and the fairy of magic and happiness type of stuff.
Would you say that you come from a lot of variety when you go into your art? Like, are you like with some artists, they kind of like to stick to one genre or one atmosphere or mood when they write poetry or when they paint or whatever else? Or would you say that you're more variety focused with your work?
I'm more variety focused. I really like to try new things all the time. I don't like to really stick to one thing in particular. I mean, there's certain things that I do like more so than others, but I like to experiment and see if I'm I might like something else. Like I said, when I was younger, I didn't really dabble with the art as in like painting and sketching too much, and so I kind of just like to experiment with it now just to see if I like it. I think it's kind of like a trial and error type of thing. I like to see if I have passion in multiple things. So
Hmm. Yeah, it's like a self exploration sort of thing.
yeah.
Yeah, that's really neat. I don't want to dominate, so if anybody wants to jump in here, I know
No,
I'm just
I
gonna.
love this. Rachel is like, she's like the interviewer. She just dives right in. She's like, "Blah, blah, 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 blah." But she hits with really good questions. Like that's one thing I love about how Rachel operates. Is she's like, she comes in and she's like, she knows exactly what she wants to ask, and she's like, bam, let's do
Uh,
it.
I
No,
studied
that's
investment
cool. I mean,
journalism.
normally, like job interviews, I'm horrible at. Like, I'll get really nervous going into them, and I turn into like Sling Blade or something. I'm like, I like French fried taters, and they're like, ma'am, this is a interview for children. I'm like, whoop, another one bites the dust. But no, like I like talking about poetry and art, so it's a lot more chill.
Yeah, yeah, we're not trying to put you under the spotlight or like, interrogate you or anything like that.
I'll get so nervous at interviews. I'll even get like a rash on my chest. I'm like, oh God, is it hot in here? And they're like, oh, actually, it's kind of chilly. And I'm like, oh, I'm sweating.
No, we like this. We like you being just authentically you because honestly, I feel like when we express ourselves through art and stuff, it's like glimpses of that authentic self. So being able to be that authentic self in different environments and like during interviews, I feel like that gives more of a glimpse into that artistic expression that you as a being are and what you express in your art. So
Yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah, it's
I'm digging
funny
it.
because I feel like my my poetry is more on the darker side. Like all of my books, the last chapter is always like an inspirational, more on a positive note because I don't like to end it, sad.
Hmm.
But even though my poetry is darker, like if you meet me in real life, I'm actually like super dorky and goofy. So it's kind of funny. Like you wouldn't think by reading my poetry, I don't think that this is me.
Yeah,
I think it's fun.
Yeah.
yeah, it's really cool. Like, so I was looking at some of your Instagram, and I was reading some of the poems, and I'm like, wow, they're really dark, and but then it's like you'll have it juxtaposed next to a video of you doing like this dancing, free dancing, and I'm
Yeah.
like, it's really cool to see like you go from both sides of the spectrum, and it's like when you see the dancing mixed with the poetry, it's kind of like something that's refreshing, and it keeps wanting you to come back to the Instagram.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm all about expressing myself, not just when I'm feeling pain or sadness, like when I'm feeling happy too. And I think dance and poetry are two separate forms of art, two different ways of expressing yourself. I think like poetry is more of a mental release and dancing is more of a physical release of emotions. So like it's both expressing the same thing but differently. So but yeah, I love dancing. I love just like I don't know. Sometimes I just say my technique is just like flailing my arms around, but I don't know. I love it.
Flail arm dance.
Yeah, you just got to
Well,
feel the beat and flail your arms around and your legs.
I call this one the inflatable tube man.
Yes.
Oh my God.
I
There's
can do
there,
that.
I think
I
there
would
used
join in.
I, I think there used to be a cuckoo kangaroo thing, and I work with kids, so we watch Go Noodle. Sometimes there used to be a cuckoo kangaroo with the inflatable thing. They used to have a song about it, where it would like inflate and deflate.
Oh my God.
So
That's
So,
real fun.
I have more questions. Is it okay if I just
Hmm?
jump into more?
yeah, yeah, go for it.
Yeah,
I'm
whoever
just
does,
like
just jump in.
curious to know more about people. So, I'm just curious, are you more methodical about how you write, or are you just in the moment when you feel like it? Like sometimes for me, when I write, I really have with poetry specifically, I am very much off the cuff with it. Like I just like to shoot straight from the hip, and like I can't necessarily plan out when I'm gonna produce more content. And other people I've known, like I know a writer who commits herself to like writing every day. And I'm just curious about, are you somewhere in the middle? Or are you more methodical? Or are you more just kind of like, I'm gonna do this when I feel like it?
I would say that I'm more like you. Like, I don't like to force my writing. I just like my writing to come naturally to me. Like I don't want to sit there and be like, oh, like I don't know what to write about. I like it kind of to just spill from my head onto the paper. I think that's what makes the best poetry. Um,
Yeah.
I do usually write every day. Like I'll make an effort to write every day, and I guess like my expectation is that not everything I write is going to be spectacular, but I just write to write. Like I feel like everything you write, even if it's not great, at least it's a spark. You know, it's like a little idea, and those eventually lead to something that could be great. So I just, I'll write a little bit every day, even if it's just a little bit. But
Mhm.
yeah, mine's more like in the moment, whatever I'm feeling, I just put it right onto the paper. I don't really like to think about it that much. I just like my heart to speak for itself.
And how much are you like how much are you paying attention to the audience when you write, or are you just kind of writing in this zone of like just like you, the bubble of you? The reason why I ask is because when I read your poetry, which is really great and interesting, I feel like there's like layers of messages behind it, like kind of challenging people who are reading it to consider different questions and that sort of thing. And I'm just wondering, are you actually trying to direct your questioning to somebody reading it, or are you just kind of thinking out loud toward yourself?
No, that's me thinking out loud towards myself. Like when I write, I never write for other people. Like I do post my stuff because I feel like we're not alone, you know, with in regards to like mental health, and I like to put it out there because um, I know that other people feel the same way I feel, but I don't write for people. I write for myself, and then I feel like people will be able to connect with that even though I'm writing for myself. But yeah, it's
Right.
just like me kind of my inner dialogue, me thinking to myself, and I just put it onto paper.
Nice. That's yeah, I personally think that's the best kind of writing, when you do it for yourself and just kind of process it on your own on your own terms, I guess.
I think you bring up a good point with that though, because I feel like when you do art and you like do the things that you've always wanted to do, you kind of are doing it more for yourself. But when you release it, it has more of a power to impact other people.
Yeah.
So that's just a connection I made there, and I'm like, that's awesome, and it just gets me thinking more about that kind of stuff.
Well, it makes me think
Yeah,
of
I think the most powerful pieces of art are the ones that, you know, just come from your heart. Like I have a lot of trouble with like even like painting and being commissioned for stuff. Like I have a really hard time doing that stuff because then I'm sitting there and it's like it's not my idea. It's like it's not it doesn't flow as well. I like things to just flow. I feel like it's way more powerful when it can just flow from you.
hmm
What were you gonna say there, Rachel? As
I
well.
was gonna say it makes me think of two different concepts. The one is coming from Aristotle, talks in the Poetics about how the first thing that we do as humans is to imitate. And the other concept, and I'll bring it together in a second here, is the concept of catharsis. And I know I've said this before, how catharsis literally translates from Greek to mean to cleanse or to purify. And I think kind of that process of like cleansing, like getting these feelings out, is something that is purifying to an individual. But then to take that a step further, to look at the fact that we are always imitating each other and looking at other people and mirroring that. When we watch somebody who is purifying themselves, in turn, we get that same effect. It's just kind of an interesting way to interpret art. And that's, I guess, in my mind, one of the reasons why art is so important, and why it's so important to value and validate the sanctity of the artist as the individual, and not like somebody who's too self-aware or trying to just do this because they want to please everybody else around them. You know what I mean? Like I feel like the process of purifying yourself and your art is going to reap better results than if you're too self-conscious about it or too like aware of yourself.
Yeah.
No, I
I mean,
totally
that's what
agree.
I feel about social media. Like, social media is all about trends and, people just copying each other. And I've always been like that's not what I actually don't like social media at all. Like, if I wasn't an artist, I would not be on social media. Like, I have no personal accounts of my own, but my reasoning for being on social media is not to follow trends. It's to set my own trend, and I don't really care about what other people are doing. I don't care how many people follow me or how many likes I get on a poem. It doesn't matter to me. Like, I like to put, my authentic poems out there, and if you like it, you like it. If you don't, you don't.
Totally. Would do you
Yeah.
think would you do you think the pros outweigh the cons for social media as an artist, or would you say it's kind of bad? Because I myself hate social media as well. Like, I just can't stand it, and it's just so overwhelming for me. And I'm constantly, I guess this is just me gathering my own intel and research, because I'm constantly wondering, is it really necessary? Do I have to be on social media? Do the pros outweigh the cons with it, or is it one of those things that in the end, like, are we all just kind of talking at once? Like, I'm curious to get your thoughts on that.
I don't know. I mean, I think that there is kind of like a middle ground with it. So I was on Facebook initially, and I absolutely hate Facebook, and I got a lot more attention on Facebook than I did Instagram, but I also got a lot more of like negative comments and stuff like that. And so I ended up canceling my Facebook, which, in hindsight, I don't know if it was a good or a bad choice, but I feel like Instagram's not as like brutal as Facebook can get. So I just kept the Instagram open, but I don't know. It does have its pros and cons because I will tell you that one of the pros is that I've met a lot of really cool like artists and other indie authors through social media, and like I've even gone as far as I've got to meet some of them in real life. Like my good friend Amber Showalter, I met her on Instagram, and she happens to live in Virginia. And then she did a poetry signing here in Lancaster, Pennsylvania. So I got to meet her, and I have another friend, CJ Pearson. He writes books that are like along the lines of Lord of the Rings, and he lives in Pittsburgh. So I'm going to meet him on February 8th. So I don't know. So it's like kind of cool that way because you get to connect with other artists, but then there is the cons too, where I feel like there's a lot of good artists and poets out there, but it's the people that are doing like the silly trends and stuff that are getting more of the attention than like the actual talent. But
Hmm.
so yeah,
I
it's
mean,
like it's either way.
You fit
yeah.
in with the group quite well.
What's that?
you, she fits in with the group pretty well, I'd say.
Oh, yeah, totally. I mean, you could even say, though, that it's almost necessary to have the artist presence online, even if there's a lot of artists that dislike it, just because you almost want to create a new trend, like outnumber the people that are just doing the silly pranks. And, how much of Instagram is actually real? Like, you see all these videos that are like, oh, like these crazy reactions, crazy pranks, and you're like, was that totally set up, or was
Yeah.
that, and and so I think it's good though to encourage artists to, I guess, fight that kind of trend of just trying to be popular and liked online, and to try to bring more of these people online that are saying, no, it doesn't matter if you're liked, just be yourself, just be self-expressing, just be cathartic or whatever. And that's the only reason, I guess, why I keep convincing myself to stay on and not cancel my accounts, although I'm terrible at posting. But yeah, I mean, I think having that attitude of just self exploration and self growth and self awareness, and just wanting to be honest and authentic is really beneficial to the public. I mean, that's my take, at least.
Yeah. Yeah, I definitely think like no matter what, like even not on social media, like just in life in general, you're gonna have like the trolls and the critics. You can't really walk away from that in life. So you got to learn how to believe in what you do. So I guess when you look at that when you look at it that way, um, you know, you gotta do your passion. So
Totally.
Hit
And
him
it
with the
sounds a little,
power of belief.
yes.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's all about self-belief.
Yes.
Do you believe? Because I believe. No, I
With
really
our
do. Like,
beliefs
that's my whole thing.
combined.
Yes, the power of all of our beliefs. It will change the world. It really will. That's why we're around. That's what this group is for.
Yeah.
I almost feel like we should all put our hands in the center and be like, "Go team!"
Yeah, it reminds me of Captain Planet. I don't know if I'm like the oldest one here. Do any of you remember Captain Planet?
Of course.
I know who, maybe what
I
that
know
is.
of Captain Planet.
Yeah,
Now, it's a little bit beyond my time, but
yeah,
not
it
by
was
much.
an old 80s cartoon where they would fight pollution together, but like one had like wind power and fire power, and they with our powers combined, I am Captain Planet.
Yep.
Makes
Oh
me
my
think of
God.
Papa Frey down there. He would know
Oh,
all about that.
well,
Yeah.
so I would actually.
He's our oldest one in the group.
Oh
He's an
30.
old
yeah.
man. He's also my best friend.
No,
By the way, I haven't said
no,
that yet this episode,
no,
so.
no. I don't
You're
know
the
you.
one that draws the pictures for the comics, right?
Yes, he
Yeah,
is.
yes.
Okay, that's cool. Yeah, your
I couldn't
animation
do
is
any of it
really good.
without him.
I like it.
Oh, thanks. I appreciate it.
Yeah.
He holds me hostage and makes me do artwork. Yeah. And then
He's
gives
allowed a
me
break
special
right now
credit I
because he's
barely know him.
working on the podcast, so. I'm teasing you, Frey.
I'm just glad you don't have like the freaking like header that says best friend.
Oh, I could. Let me
Nope,
actually.
that's
Hold on a
okay.
second.
That's
Oh,
okay.
Yep.
No,
you
we're good.
spoke too
We're good.
soon.
We're
Oh,
good.
oh,
You're
well, hold on a
laughing.
second.
I think I'm going to wow, that's crazy. That is crazy. That is
You're asking for it, okay?
I
Yeah,
was
you
trying
really
to
were.
like block my camera out really quick so I wasn't appearing when you did that.
You can't run from me, Frey. You can't run.
Oh, Hooper.
We're a bromance that will last
No,
eternity.
we're not.
That's our fun segment for the day. All right.
Anywho, um, you actually answered a lot of my questions
Oh, did I?
with your like introduction. Oh,
Oh,
it's okay. No, it's fine. Um, going back to your anorexia, is that your survivor story? Is that what you were? 'Cause I know that.
um, I've been through multiple things in my life. Like that was the big thing when I was a teenager, being hospitalized anorexia. That definitely changed my entire life. Like it changed my perspective on life. I feel like going through that as a teenager, it made me grow up a lot faster than other kids during that time. So I kind of feel like I missed out a little bit on my teenage years because um, I don't know. I just didn't want to do like your regular teenage things, going out or whatnot. I tended to isolate myself. But along with anorexia, I had, and this is common too. A lot of girls that have anorexia have OCD and anxiety as well. So when I was going through the anorexia, I really struggled with OCD, which at the time was more, I was very much into like schedules and perfectionism. So, like, I would have to take showers at certain times of the day, and it had to be like that time on the dot. And I would set my clothes up for the days a week and 5 articles of clothing per pile, and I'd count them, and like everything in my room was aligned like a clock type of stuff. And then I ended up breaking out a lot of those habits from when I was younger, but then my OCD morphed into something completely different. And so now I have a form of OCD. It's called semantic or sensory motor OCD. So, like, I'll think about like bodily functions, like I obsess over it. So, like, I'll think about like my when my eyes blink or how my eyes roll back when I sleep, or the breathing is the worst. I'll think about my breathing until like it's hard to breathe. Like I feel like I'm manually breathing and my chest will start to hurt. So I had to do a lot of therapy to get over that. But and then like after it morphed into that OCD, I was like, man, I'd take my other OCD back in a heartbeat because it was just horrible. It was just, I didn't know how I was going to live like that. I was like, honestly, like I don't want to be depressing, but it was either, you know, I take my own life or this is going to kill me type of situation. So, um, but I remember seeing I saw an Instagram video of a girl that had Tourette's, and she was trying to describe to people what it was like to have Tourette's, and she said, try to keep your eyes open without blinking. And you know, of course, we played the game with each other where we try to stare at each other, and you cave and you blink at a moment. That's kind of what the tics are like. That's what OCD obsessions are like. Like you keep thinking them until you either stop doing them or you keep doing them. So, but I've been through I went through a abusive relationship as well. So my second book, The Ghost in the Red Dress, is about domestic violence and sexual assault. So,
Is there so do all your books have like themes like that?
they did like they all deal with mental health. So I can show them to you here. I have them all piled up. So this is my first one, Floating Coffins, and this deals with just walking through your shadows, a lot of depression, suicidal thoughts. Um, this is my second one, The Ghost in the Red Dress. This one is the one I was talking about that's about abuse, sexual assault, domestic violence. Um, the Tattooed Fairy is about recovery. So this is my this is my more positive book. um, Reflection of a Monster, that's about the OCD and depression. I have The Reaper's Daughter. This is about losing a loved one to suicide. Roses and Razorblade is about heartbreak and relationships. And then this is my newest one, Holding Hands with Death, and this is also about, you know, the OCD, depression, mental health. So,
Wow.
I know they're kind of like sad subjects, but which one did you which one do you think is the best? The one that you enjoyed the most putting together?
which one of my books I enjoyed the most?
Yes.
My favorite one is The Reaper's Daughter, the one that's about losing a loved one to suicide. I think that one was the one, that was the hardest one for me to write. Um, it was some of those poems are very, very deep. Like I had to get very deep for those poems. So it's a very raw poetry collection.
Wow.
I have a question. I'm trying to think through how I want to ask. So, which came first, like your OCD, anorexia, the abusive relationship? Do you think one started the other? I mean, you obviously said that OCD was kind of what what created the anorexia. Would you say that the source is from external elements, or would you say that's something that is more ingrained in you personally? I'm just curious because I know that you studied psychology and you sound like a person that would have a lot of insight in that.
Yeah, I think they all might have stemmed from the same thing, and then it kind of grew as I got
Mm-hmm.
older, but it definitely started with the anorexia and trying to control something in my life, and it happened to be you know, starving myself. And then
Mm-hmm.
and then along with that, like with trying to control things, then I started to get into, you know, the OCD tendencies and habits, and which created, you know, anxiety when I couldn't do something on that schedule. And yeah, like it all just ricocheted off of each other and grew throughout my life.
Mm-hmm. Would you say that perfectionism is always a dangerous thing to go down that path? Or like I tend to be very perfectionistic, so I think that's why I'm curious, like what your advice for people would be in terms of their own sense of perfectionism. How far is too far? What would you say to somebody who struggles with that?
Um, I mean, I don't think perfectionism is always a bad thing. Like, I think it's a good quality to want something to be nice, but I think when it gets to the point where like it's taking over your mind, like it becomes something that you can't stop thinking about, then, you know, then that's a problem.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah.
Do you feel perfectionistic with your writing, or do you feel like you can release that when you write?
Um, I don't know. Like I don't I think that if I was perfectionist about writing, that it would be more forced, and I don't feel forced when I write. Like when I write, it's very natural to me. Like I said before, it's kind of like my head just spilling onto paper. So I feel like
Hmm.
it's not perfectionism.
It's like therapeutic then. It's
Yeah,
almost like
it's more
your
therapeutic to me. Yes.
right. Yeah, yeah. Because I feel like you also said, I think, on your website that you've done art therapy. Is that right?
Yeah, I did art therapy for my practicum in college.
Wow, that's really interesting. I mean,
Yeah. Yeah, it was
the
really cool. Like you can diagnose people just based on pictures and whatnot. It's they have this diagnosis system. It's the apple tree design, and just based on how somebody draws someone picking an apple from a tree, they can tell if they have bipolar, schizophrenia, whatever. It's really cool.
wow,
Yeah.
that's so did so it's accurate then.
Yeah. Yeah, it's
Wow,
pretty accurate.
have you ever heard of, I don't know, I think I want to say it's Japanese. It's like the cube test. Have you heard of that?
No.
It just reminds me of that where it's like close your eyes, imagine a cube in the desert, and then you have to describe all of these elements, and they say imagine a ladder, imagine these flowers, all of the above.
Yeah.
Everything about how you interpret the cube and the flowers and everything has a meaning behind it, and it's kind of the same concept, but like, just like your imagination is subconsciously kind of creating this framework of who you are and painting a picture of who you are. That's fascinating to me.
Yeah, that's exactly what it is, because in the picture they have to draw a ladder, and it's all about like what gender did they draw, how big is the ladder compared to the tree, what colors did they you know, what colors did they choose to use, and like yeah, there's so many elements in it that can help you diagnose.
Wow, that's so interesting. I want to do that sometime.
Yeah.
I'm a little jealous of that experience. Like, I'm very intrigued by that.
Yeah, like part of me wishes that I would have got more into, because like I did the art therapy for my practicum, and I wish that I would have gone on for my master's for it, but I never did. But it was really cool, like getting to do that during my college experience. So like
It
yeah,
just definitely.
I get to sit in the sessions and do the art with the patients and everything. It was really cool.
Oh, it definitely gives you like a really interesting background as a writer, you know, because
Yeah, it definitely does, considering that I write about mental health. It kind of all goes together. Like, it's kind of funny how your path in life does that, because originally when I went to college, I went as a nursing major, and then I didn't end up getting into clinicals my first year. And with my OCD and everything, I'm not one for change. And I was just like, I'm just going to stay at this college because it's familiar to me and I'm used to it. And so I ended up switching my major to psychology. But then, like, in hindsight, I feel like I would have been a good nurse, but psychology kind of helped pave the way for a lot of things in my life, like the poetry and whatnot. So,
yeah, a lot of self-exploration, self-awareness, emotional
yeah,
awareness. It's a very intellectual side to poetry too. So, you know, and psychology is very intellectual too. So it
yes.
all connects.
No, I'm really enjoying hearing this. I just want to check in with Katie. She's our silent observer most times. Katie, do you have anything that you want to ask or talk to her about? Or just talk about in general quick?
Oh, thanks. Yeah, I was waiting for a good pause.
You have to make the way, Katie. Assertiveness.
To like put your hand up when you want to say something.
Yeah, raise your
Yeah,
hand.
I probably should.
Act like you have to go to the bathroom. Just be like,
Yeah, you
something like
need
that.
studio roles. Raise your hand to speak.
No, Katie, you just need to assert yourself. You got this. I believe in you.
Go for it.
I almost was going to at one of the other pauses, but then I waited too long. But, I just have a couple of questions at the moment that I don't think have been answered quite yet, or at least maybe not more fully as it could be. So, Caitlin, first off, it's really cool to meet you, and second off, I like your poetry a lot. Well, the ones I read so far.
Oh, thank you.
And so my first question is, why do we need poetry, and or uh, what does poetry do for us that other art forms don't do? You did touch on it a little bit, that you said it was a mental release, but I didn't know if you had anything else to add to that.
Yeah, I think, like, in general with art, I feel like the world needs art. I think art saves you in life, whether it's like painting, music, poetry, whatever. I think art gives you a place to put that pain and turn it into something beautiful, because life isn't always a bowl of cherries, you know. It's not all smiles and happiness. Like, it also comes with your struggles and sadness and pain. And I think, the greatest thing that you can do with your struggles is learn how to turn them into something beautiful. I mean, what else can you do in life? You can't always change the cards that you've been dealt, or your genetics in life. You just have to learn to roll with the punches, and what better way than art? And I feel like some people might connect to poetry, but it's also very subjective. It's not for everyone, but I do encourage people to just experiment and try different art forms, or something. Like, if you're going through a hard time, put that into something, whether it's like rock climbing or whatever. I feel like that's the best thing that you can do.
Mm-hmm. Definitely.
And what would be, I guess if there's one thing you could say to creatives to encourage them, what would it be?
Um, I would just say that I would just encourage you to try different things. I mean, if you're not, like I said, like, if you're going through a hard time and not feeling so creative, like, just try different things, because sometimes you find that you're good at something that maybe you thought that you wouldn't be. Like, I never thought that I would be good at painting, and then I ended up loving it after I tried it. So it's just a matter of trying it and seeing if you like it, and don't force things. Just let things spill from your head as they will.
Definitely.
Thanks. That's all I have at the moment.
I love those answers.
Me too.
I think you touched on something too that's near and dear to my heart, Caitlin. What you said about it's not necessarily just like art in general. I feel like this touches on a question that I feel like we'll be talking about more in detail in a future episode. Like, what is art? And I feel like art can be more than just painting, music, poetry, the things that you see in a museum or you hear on a stage. I feel like art is like a way that people can express themselves, and that can be anything. It could be through maybe a creation that they physically make or write or something like that, but like maybe even just like a personality or like the personality of them and stepping more into that, finding their own hobbies, like expressing themselves through their hobbies, like you were talking about, like rock climbing. I think that's a beautiful definition of like what art can be for many different people, and also why it's so important for everybody to kind of have that self-exploration to find that. So I really like what you had to say about that.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, and I think that it's a way that art is a way that we connect with each other too, because I feel like, we go through these things in life and you think that you're alone, and it makes you isolate yourself. But then you look at art, like even poetry, like I've seen I've seen the same feeling, the same emotions expressed like a million different ways. And it's just like it's really cool. It's like going to a paint and sip party and everybody's painting the same picture, but at the end it all turns out differently. Like it's cool to be able to connect to each other that are going through the same things, and see how they express themselves.
Definitely.
I love that. Also, Frae, you hear that part about isolation?
Leave me alone.
Never.
Oh my god.
I tend to be
No,
a
that's
hermit.
beautiful.
I'm a
I mean,
hermit
I can
sometimes.
understand.
What's that?
I was gonna say I think that's almost necessary sometimes to get the writing out too.
Yeah, sure.
There's
Yeah.
a place for it. I will admit that. Just not too much of it, okay, Frae?
Well, y'all live like closer to each other. I'm just down here by myself.
But you said you're moving close to us soon.
I don't know. No, that's not soon. It would be.
You
the
said
end of the
by
year.
the end of the year.
That's not soon. We just
We're going to be at your
started.
house all the time, Frae. You're
Tanner,
not going to have
you're
any
not gonna-
personal space.
I'm not gonna tell you my location.
You already told me you're going to be in York. I will find you.
York's a pretty decent sized place.
It is a decent sized place. One that I'm not too familiar with, you're right, but I
That's
will
right.
find you. I'll show up to your house. You better believe it.
It should be like a comic book series. Need to have like a whole saga on Penciled Man finding Frae,
Oh goodness.
the artist.
Oh goodness.
The missing artist.
Yeah.
Turns out he was in his house the entire time,
That's
drawing more number 2 Pencil Man comics.
Be a very self-aware comic. It's funny.
Yeah, we got to break the fourth wall, Frae.
Yeah,
We could do the Tanner and Frae Adventures.
Oh no, we cannot.
it would be a good
Oh.
idea.
Yeah, he could be your sidekick.
No.
Yes.
No.
He could be your highlighter.
Don't give him ideas, Caitlin.
I'm always open to ideas, so
I have
keep
to
them
get back to
coming.
my
Like,
own projects.
Then you could have like a evil pencil sharpener nemesis.
I can't confirm or deny that
I'll be the
potential.
nemesis.
He's my frenemy.
Right.
Frenemy, oh my god.
No, when I move, I can have y'all over and we can have a house party.
Woo!
Yes.
So what I hear is we're moving the studio into his house.
I
We're
didn't
gonna
say
actually
that.
have a whole talk show
See,
studio.
there you go. You took it too far.
Not far enough, apparently.
Oh my god.
No, we got to throw in our funny bits. We always have those.
Anyway, so Caitlin, um,
Back to the subject.
which so you do conventions? Do you do like art festivals as well? And do you do that throughout the year, or
Um,
just do like
I
special
want to
events?
get into art festivals. That's Oh, sorry. Like sometimes my screen freezes and then somebody starts talking and I don't know if I'm interrupting. Um,
No, you're good.
You're good.
yeah, I haven't done art festivals yet, but that is something that I'm interested in doing. Um, I've sold my books I used to sell my books actually in York from the Dark Parlor, but
I
that
know where that
has
place is.
since closed down. And then now I sell some of my books from the House of Oddities, which I think you might have some of your comic books. Do you have your
I
comic book?
haven't put him in there yet, but I have seen
Oh,
your books. I was actually just there last night for the second Friday event. He kind of lets me just show up whenever because me and Jeremy, we get along real great. So,
yeah, he's
oh,
super
Jeremy's a
cool.
great guy.
Yeah, I like chilling with him. I did a book signing there. Um, yeah, and it was really cool just hanging out. I just stayed there for like 5 hours and talked to Jeremy and whatnot. And
No, Jeremy is awesome. We're definitely
yeah,
having him on the podcast at some point. He's
yeah,
just a
he'd be
lovely
a
guy.
good one to have on.
Yeah, he's super encouraging. Like him and I will we'll talk for like hours. Like last night, I stayed after the thing a little bit. We were just like pumping each other up because I'll be like encouraging him in his dreams. Like I feel like I want to create, and I'm like, do it. Let's create together. Let's And yeah, we might be thinking about doing some type of collab soon with
That
all
would be
that. So
cool.
no, he's a great guy, and
Yeah, he
honestly,
is. He's very nice. I like him.
we should do a book signing there together sometime.
We
Because
should.
that's actually how I
That'd be
learned
cool.
about you.
When I did my book signing, I was there with ah, I'm having brain farts. I can't think of his name, but he does he does art with serial killers. Like he contacts them in prison, and then he'll send them some of his art, and then they finish his artwork off. So he has like collabs with serial killers, and then like he'll have the story, the history of the serial killer or whatnot. But that's who I got to sit with for 5 hours, and it was really cool. I was like, what?
Well, that's an interesting artist style
Yeah.
right there.
Yeah, his mom is actually a butcher, and she gets cow
Oh
bones
boy.
for him, and he'll do these paintings on cow bones.
Oh wow,
Yeah.
Oh my.
that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Okay.
We might want to keep an eye on that
Yeah.
artist. Maybe just a little bit.
Yeah. No, he was cool though. He was cool.
Yeah. That's the awesome thing about different people that are artists. Like everybody has their own thing. So if you want to
Yeah.
like have cowbone paintings with serial killers, I mean, hey, I
Yeah.
might think that's a little, you might just want to watch that a little bit, but there's a, it's all right.
No, yeah, like
There's a
I'm
market
pretty
for it.
like I'm judgment free. I'm down with whatever way you want to express yourself within limitations, but
No, I still think it's pretty
but
interesting, and
yeah,
if
like yeah, I
you're
like to
doing it.
hear what other artists have to say too. So
I'd be curious to know why they do that. That might be. Maybe we'll have to track that person down and have them on the podcast.
Thinking
yeah, oh,
yeah.
that would be a really cool one. There you go.
Interesting, yeah, for
So
sure.
if you are listening to this, we're gonna find you. We're gonna invite you on this podcast, whoever you are.
I'll send you his name then. I can't think of his name at the top of my head.
That's cool. Yeah, no, we're hoping to have all sorts of artists that do all sorts of
Yeah.
things. It's gonna be like a platform thing, The Dreamscape Empyrean is here to unify indie artists on all fronts to kind of come together to have a better chance of actually, competing with the mainstream, having the resources to be able to release the things that they have it like in their hearts to do. So, yeah, we're hoping to see this network grow. So,
Yeah, I really like that idea.
it's time. It's time to take it back and give
Yeah.
the independent artists a chance, to
Absolutely.
actually do what they have set in their hearts. So,
Yeah.
that's something we're passionate about here.
We need more art. I'm in Lebanon, and Lebanon is kind of going under as far as the arts go. So I used to do open mics at Scott Church's, and then he closed his venue, and he just has a photography studio now. But that was like the only artsy thing that was going here. So so now it's kind of blah.
It's time to
We've
bring it
got
back.
sweet bologna. That's about it.
Hey, sweet bologna is pretty good, though. I
Yeah,
will say, I'm a big fan of Lebanon bologna. So anybody
I
who's
do like
listening
lemon.
from Lebanon,
Wait, does that come from Lebanon?
hmm
Where you're from?
Hmm.
yeah, there's actually a factory out in Lebanon. Yeah.
I
Yeah,
had
on
no idea.
on New
So
Year's they drop a bologna, I think. Yeah,
Yep.
they have a bologna drop.
that is so crazy.
Yeah,
Pennsylvania has some interesting drops for New Year's,
pickles,
but yeah,
goats, bologna.
in my hometown, it used to be a lollipop because there was like a lollipop factory a long time ago, and E-Town used to do the M&M
Oh
drop
yeah, the
because
M&M. Yeah,
Mars is there.
yeah.
I think we have like the most snack factories in the country in Pennsylvania. I read that once. I don't know if it's true.
That were
I
what?
believe it.
What'd you say?
We have like the most factories in the country in
Oh,
Pennsylvania. They're like
I
I
could.
huge.
believe it.
Yeah, I could too.
Yeah, we got all the potato chips. I think I
Yes.
think we got Idaho beat for potato chips. I was just watching a video the other day on like TikTok, and it was like, "Welcome to Pennsylvania, where we have potato chips, potato chips,
Snacks.
potato chips."
Got snacks.
Yeah. We got Hershey's here. We got Mars. We got
That's
Dove
what
chocolates.
That's what it should be like when you enter our state, the Pennsylvania sign. It should be snacks.
Snacks.
Yeah, welcome to Pennsylvania, snacks.
Pursue your snacks.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
I love that.
Yeah.
It's fantastic.
Any
Well,
government listening right now, change the signs.
We know you're spying.
Yes.
Oh, this is great.
I want to hear one of her poems.
I was about to say, I think this is a good time to
I've
start
been
Yeah.
having
listening
you
to
read.
poems,
All
so
right.
Yeah, what you got for us?
All right. Well, I'll read. Like I said, my new ones that I've been coming out with are I really like them. I can't wait to publish my next book. But this is one of my newer ones, and then I don't know how much time we have. I didn't know how long you record for, so I just have some
Mm,
other ones
we're
marked.
fine.
And
Yeah,
also,
read a couple.
I know YouTube's weird with music, right? Like with like copyrighting music,
yeah,
so I probably should
Yeah,
play music with it, right?
it'll
yeah.
probably get
Unfortunately, we'll stay
flagged
away
and
from.
taken down unless
Yeah,
it's
okay. Yeah, I always think it
appropriate.
sounds cooler with music behind it. It's just like darker and more
Yeah,
theatrical or something. I don't know.
Ooh, Rachel, we could come up with our own like music to have
I
for
know,
like the
like
background
ambient.
of the podcast.
We should do something like that.
Yeah.
That
If it's not too much for you, because first off, shout out to Rachel. She is really super awesome. She's been doing a lot of work in this team, helping us get the YouTube and everything running. So I just want Rachel to be recognized, and I want you to
thank
know,
you.
Rachel, you are such a valuable member to this team.
Oh, thanks.
Aw, she
Happy to
getting
hear
a
that.
round of applause too.
Yes,
Yeah.
hold on.
Yeah.
Let's see. I got this. We appreciate you, Rachel, very
Oh,
much. Just want you to know.
Yeah, uh, well, this is kind of like a funny topic to like go into a serious poem. But so I used to do YouTube videos with my friend. It was called Sasquatch Studio, and
Oh,
so we would do parodies of like funny parodies of movies on a low budget, but then like somehow Bigfoot would
okay.
show up on everyone. So like we
Oh,
did,
That sounds like my type of
that's so
content.
yeah,
I love it.
yeah, so we did this one because we tried to put music in, and it would only be like 3 seconds, I swear, of music, and then YouTube wouldn't post it or something because of copyright. So then we had this one video on copyright, and it was like the copywritten fart, And so, but then it ended up being Bigfoot's fart that it was copywritten. And I don't know. Like sometimes my humor isn't along the lines of other people's humor, which might be why we only had like 12 subscribers, but I don't know.
No,
Is it
I
still
love
on
that.
YouTube?
Yeah.
That's funny.
But anyway, so this is one of my newer ones. This one is called Air Balloon. You said don't give your hopes up, but I'm going to fill my hope up as big as an air balloon. You said dreams are only dreams until you wake up and smell the roses, but I don't feel awake until I dream. It's a catch-22, you see, between what they say and the hope I pump into my dreams. Dreaming is my reality. Who said just because you see it in your head doesn't give it tangibility? I feel my dreams more than my physicality. They're as real to me as my own lungs. You speak of dreams like they die as soon as you wake up, but my dreams run through my blood. If I don't reach for my dreams, I may never fly. Balloons only stay temporarily before they begin to untie. I'm not going to miss my ride, and if I don't make it in time, at least I can say I tried. It would be a sad life to never know if your dreams could come true. I'd rather fill my hope up as big as an air balloon. If I don't make it the first time, let that be my fuel to try again soon. If I give up, I'm no better than a butterfly that's too afraid to come out of its cocoon.
I gotta say, I absolutely love that one. It resonates with me so much. I'm getting hyped. Like I am like shaking from like all the excitement and hypeness. Like, yes, you are speaking my language.
You can
Ah,
put it in your air balloon. Like this is
oh yeah.
this is my air balloon. There's my hope in my air balloon and my butterfly.
Nice. Can you hold
I
it
love
closer
that.
to the camera?
Oh,
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Oh, I love that.
and there's my dreams. There's the star, my dreams going up
Oh,
with
nice.
it.
That's perfect.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, dreams. Ah,
Yeah, I really loved that metaphor with the air balloon and blowing into the air, like just filling it up with hopes and dreams. And I just feel like that's something that, most adults lose as they get older. And it's very refreshing and uplifting to hear poetry written in such a succinct kind of way where it's just uh, very physically representing what we want our lives and our spirit, I guess, to become, like to just be uplifted. So I loved it. I thought it was awesome.
Thank you. Yeah, I think people are too quick to give up on their dreams. Like in my head, I always think big, and other people are like, "Oh, you put like all your eggs in the basket, and it's like too big." But like, not to me. Like, I mean, if I fail, then like, what are you gonna do? You just keep trying. Like, I like to think big. Like, one of my dreams is to become traditionally published writer, and
Hmm.
I have some agents that I've targeted, and they're like the big wigs, and I'm like, go big or go home. So I sent my stuff out. But yeah,
Nice.
I think it's important to dream big.
Hmm. Definitely.
yes.
I think people, they lose that excitement for their lives and their dreams very early on just because failure happens, or there's always the person that's like, yeah, that's not practical, or at least you know that you tried. Like I hate that expression, and I've heard it several times from people, and I just think, I'm not going to say it because I don't know if we're allowed to swear on this right now, but I just think pretty nasty thoughts of these people because I'm just like, how dare you say that to me? And it's just, you think about the nerve of somebody who feels comfortable with saying something so depreciating and so discouraging, and just act like it's not really that big of a deal, because like those statements can truly push people down a trajectory of, like, negativity, and just they'll never get back up to where they needed to be. And I think that's why, like, that's what we want with what we're doing with this podcast. We want to encourage artists because we know how hard that journey is. And that poem is definitely like very much in our mission statement. I mean, it's
Yes.
exactly what we're talking
Yes,
about.
yes.
Yeah, like,
I feel it. I'm still feeling it.
I never understood that expression. They say sticks and stones can break your bones, but words will never hurt me. But I think it's the opposite. Like the words definitely do make like a lifelong impact. So
Totally. I
yeah.
think as a writer, yeah, that's like a big thing to me, is like words are so important. Like I see them as just sacred, and most of the time people just they don't think about what they're saying, and that's just very damaging to people.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't understand it. I don't understand why people have to put their 2 cents in things that, like, it's really none of their business. Let just people just be happy, you know?
Totally.
Yeah,
Absolutely agree.
yeah. So
Absolutely.
my next one I'm going to read. This is from my fourth book, Reflection of a Monster. This is about walking through your shadows. Um, This is one of my favorite poems that I ever wrote. This one's called My Haunted House. And it is really cool with music, but I'll try to be
Yeah.
as dark as I can.
Can we play like our theme song in the background?
Your
I
theme.
It's
could
kind of
always
like a
add
mystical.
something. Well, do you want? I could add something later when I edit this together,
Oh,
and maybe
maybe.
try it
Maybe.
together. I could throw something
Channel your
together.
inner emo.
Yeah. Tap it.
My hair's not long enough this
Yeah, we
episode.
got
Where are you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
My God.
You're making me like think I'm about to go off on tangents, and I need to read the poem.
Oh no, we gotta stay on track.
Yeah. All right. This is My Haunted House. I don't need to visit a haunted house. I live in one every day in my head. Everything I touch is already dead. There's not a ghoul that could fool me, or a monster that could rattle my bones any more than they've been rattled. I've seen it all before. Silence that murders screams, love that never stops bleeding, and fear that eats without ever being satisfied. Binging on every moment of happiness left in my mind. It's a scary place in these thoughts of mine. I'm so numb to pain. Everyone thinks I'm fine, even myself. I'm just another ghost in my haunted house where my sanity went in but never came back out.
Nice.
Giving me a soundboard was not a good idea. No, I love that. That's
Thank
very
you.
deep.
Oh, he's got his emo hair.
I was wondering where Frae went. Oh my God.
All right, Frae.
Why do you have a wig?
Yeah,
So this is
man.
funny. My oldest son is a creative. He plays the guitar and he writes music. And so he has this really funny thing that he does. It's emo. We call it emo goofy. But it all started because he was singing an Evanescence song. And he was trying to sing it emo, but it started to sound like Goofy when he was doing it. So he was like, "Wake me up inside, wake me up inside, oh gosh." So he does all these songs like emo Goofy. I was like, that's so cool. I was like, you got to go in the talent show and have like a Goofy hat and do emo Goofy.
Totally.
That's awesome.
That's hilarious.
That's cool though that your son's also a creative. That's awesome. Frae, I
think
actually
it's
like this
great.
look on you too.
What's that?
I like
you
this
like
look
the
on
look?
Frae.
Part of my cosplay.
No, he goes emo at least like once a con.
Yeah, just don't wear
Really?
the hair.
Yeah.
So what's the wig for? What's it?
It's a character from My Hero Academia. I can't even
Oh,
remember.
okay. I know who
Oh,
you're talking about.
Um,
Is it the Eraserhead?
Racerhead. There it is.
Yep.
gotcha.
I
Yeah,
was
I
gonna
think
go as him and then get like a big old sleeping bag and then be in the sleeping bag because he's like always sleepy. So
Be an easy cosplay for Frey.
he was.
No, I like
But
this. We need to
I
have.
never got around to doing it, so I just have the wig laying around in the house.
You look like you could release an emo album. I want to hear what kind of emo music you would make, Frey.
I have, but it's,
Really?
yeah, it's just bad quality, so I'd rather not play any.
That'll be a future episode. We'll focus all on Frey's emo-ness.
I have a lot of emails.
It was never a phase.
I want to get back to this poem, so because Caitlin didn't get to hear what we had to think about it. I really loved that. I thought, it had a very like haunting mood to it, and I really loved that last line. I just feel like that just wrapped it up together just beautifully. That was really
Yeah, where my
inspiring.
sanity went in but never came back out.
Yeah, I
Yeah,
thought that was
that's one of
really
my favorite ending lines in a poem.
totally, yeah, that was really beautiful.
Thank you.
Hmm.
Do you have any thoughts, Katie?
I mean, I just love poetry. I love people's abilities to convey emotion with imagery. And because it's written down, then you can return to it, if you have the book anyway, whenever you like, whenever you want to re experience that emotion or empathize with, whoever is experiencing it based on who wrote the poem or, whether it's the writer themselves or a character created for the sake of the poem, whatever. Like in, a lot of older poems was about like classical characters and things like that. So, yeah, but I just made me think about the nature of poetry more so, I guess. And how, just how I know Caitlin used the word raw a couple times during this episode. And yeah, I love the rawness of poetry. So your haunted house poem is very raw and uh, almost invites you in without asking. Uh, um, which suits the poem quite well. And as far as like the mood, I would say piggyback off what Rachel was saying. Um, and yeah, again, the relatability of poetry too. Whether it's conscious or subconscious or unconscious of that, I think when we read a poem that we connect with, it, like you said earlier, I just think it bears repeating that it triggers something somewhere in your mind or somewhere in you that you're not alone because you're connecting with the whatever emotion is in the poem. So yeah, I think that you conveyed the emotions that you wanted to convey through the poem very, very clearly, and it flowed really well. And yeah, I do like the rhyming. That's very nice. Rhyming is wonderful. I mean, I like both the rhyme and free verse, but yeah, it is very well placed and like the order of your words and how you wrote it down. But yeah, and I guess on a personal level, it was kind of making me think of times in my life where I've maybe felt that way at certain points, and it's strangely, I don't know, it was dark, but like also strangely comforting in a way, I guess. Because I think, I don't know what you would say about this. Maybe you can mention if you want to respond to this, but I don't feel like our culture is particularly good at connecting with our own darkness. I think we kind of run from it or try to ignore it or pretend it's not there sometimes. We don't know how to handle it, I think. At least in the culture that I've come from personally. So,
Yeah.
yeah, I don't know if you want to speak to that because so many of your books have darker tones to them.
Yeah, like I've had people in my past and they're like, why do you always write about dark things? Can't you write about happy things? And um, yeah, it's not really about that to me. Like you said, that there's a comfort when you read it, even though it's about something dark. And, it's because like we connect to it, like we all go through these things, and it's just like a way to express that. And I think the comfort in it is knowing that it is normal. And I hate that word because like I feel like normal doesn't exist, but we always think that like it's not normal, but it is. Like we all go through these struggles in life, so there's a comfort in darkness. It's like even if a song or a poem is dark, like I think that there's a comfort in it.
Definitely.
Yeah.
That was very beautifully said.
Absolutely.
I think it also speaks volumes of an artist's like creative ability and power when they're able to communicate such feelings in a way that it has an effect on the audience as well. And that is something that I really think that your work does. Like when you were talking about the dream poem, it was getting me hyped up. And when you were talking about this last poem, like I felt that emotion coming from it. And it was, like Katie said, it was haunting, but also yet somewhat comforting to know, like, even in the moments that I felt that way in my own life, like somebody else has, but they've been able to capture it in a way that I've never been able to express it before, which is also, I think, one of the most amazing things about art, and also how it has, like, a healing, like, capability for so many people. And I think, like, what you're writing definitely carries that healing energy with it as you create it. So I think that's really awesome and beautiful, and just wanted to say that.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, like I think yeah, I think that people think that, if you're sad, then you need to listen to something that's happy, or, but I don't think it's always that way. I feel like, we connect to how we're feeling. So, we're sad, we listen to sad music. It's just like a way that we connect to others. And I think like that connection kind of like pulls you out of it a little bit, like out of that loneliness.
Totally.
I love that. We all want to be seen. I think that's what it really comes down to.
Yeah.
Is art is a way to help people feel seen,
Yeah,
and
I agree.
it's beautiful. Yeah. Did you have more poems for us? I just wanted to
Oh,
ask first.
I didn't, I don't know how far you want me to go.
Do you want to do like one more, and then we'll like do our shameless plug segment and
Sure.
wrap it up there?
Sure, sounds good. All right, I'll read one from my favorite book. This is The Reaper's Daughter. So this one is about losing a loved one to suicide. Let's see here. So this one is called Dead Man's Kiss. I kissed a dead man once. How well my mind disguised the paleness of his skin and the coldness of his lips. I even heard his heartbeat as our souls intertwined. How well love can make you so blind to the obvious. The caress of his hands was all in my head. How much I wanted someone to understand my pain, and I found it in a dead man's grave. I followed the track marks down his arms to a mind-numbing place where I fell in love with a ghost and was no longer sane.
Awesome.
Oh, hold on. I almost forgot to hit the sound bite. No, that's a beautiful poem.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Very deep.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that
I
book
feel.
was really hard for me to write. Like those poems are really deep, raw poems. So it's a good collection.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's very thought provoking, very beautiful.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you. I mean, wow. So it's funny. It's like where Rachel cuts us back in, we're gonna be like, "Oh, Katie looks different."
Yeah. Well,
Welcome back, Katie.
Thanks.
No, did anybody have any other questions for Caitlin or anything
Actually, I
that they
have
wanted to
one
say?
real quick.
Yes.
Um, two actually. Okay, you have a lot of tattoos. How many do you have?
Oh, I don't even know. Like I have a lot. Like a lot of them are bigger pieces. Like I have my whole chest done. I have a half sleeve here. I have a tattoo that goes from my ribs down to my legs. Like it's
Wow.
all one piece, and the back of my legs is all one piece too. When you put the back of my legs together, it's a giant skull. I actually went to I got third place in the Baltimore Tattoo Convention for that one.
wow.
Nice.
Yeah, that one was weird though, because you know that there's tons of people that show up at those conventions, and then I had to stand I had to take my shorts off, and I was in bathing suit bottoms, and I had to stand on a chair with my butt facing three judges. So it was really uncomfortable, but yeah, it won third place, so that was cool.
Nice.
Nice.
Yeah.
And do
Was there
you?
like a prize with that? I'm just curious.
Was there what?
Like a prize that you got for third place?
Well, the artist that did it came with me, and he got a trophy and everything with it.
Nice.
So I guess it looks cool in his tattoo shop.
Did you do you draw the designs for your artists or do you let him pick something?
No,
Like
I
if
just
you
let the artist do their thing. I kind of like the artist to like I'll have the idea for it, but then I like them to just do their own style with it. I think the piece turns out nicer when they can kind of do what they want with it. So, but the initial idea is mine.
gotcha.
Yeah.
Well, that's awesome. Yeah, I feel like we've gotten to know
Yeah.
you quite a bit today, Caitlin, and it's been really awesome. So, I guess the only other question I have, it's our new favorite segment, shameless plugging
Yeah.
time. So, tell us, where can they find you and what all do you have? Because I know you flashed up the books earlier, but tell us a little bit more about where they can find you and any projects that you're working on, whatever you want to like plug right now, whatever things you're working on. Now's the time to shamelessly do that.
So I do have a link tree. Yeah, the only social media, like I said, that I have is Instagram. So you can find me on Instagram, and my link tree is on there, but it's Linktree Caitlin Lucas Poetry. And then all of my links are on there. My website, it will take you straight to all my poetry books. My poetry books are all on Amazon. Um, I have seven of them. So if you just follow my link, it will take you to all seven books, and you can scroll through the descriptions in case like you forgot what I said today, and see what the books are about, and what you might be interested in. So, but yeah, like right now my work is just I've been doing a lot of writing lately. I've been doing I actually just recently wrote a novel, and that I do not want to self-publish. I'm trying to get it traditionally published. So fingers crossed, I have that going for me right now. Um, so yeah. So yeah, if you'd like to get any of my poetry books, you can go to my link tree.
Very nice. Everybody, go check her out. Go check out her social on Instagram. Go check out the links on her link tree. Buy her books. Deep poetry, amazing poetry, as you've witnessed here firsthand on the Indie Synergy Exchange. Does anybody else in the group have anything that they want to shamelessly plug?
Yes.
Sorry, my
knew
screen
it.
froze.
I knew it.
My screen froze for like
always
10
me.
seconds. I don't know what you just
There was
said.
like a little pause there. Oh, I think Frae said yes.
Yeah, I just see yes. My website, Frae Official, the LLC, is celebrating its 5th anniversary this year. So, if you want to be so nice, go over there. I'm gonna have giveaways and other special things for people. But if you want to like donate to the site, help me keep going, I appreciate that. And I think that's the only thing I have to plug right now. Yes, that's the only thing currently. So, 5th anniversary. Woo.
Woo! Rachel, do you have anything that you're working on that you want to plug?
I mean, I'm working on things, but they're not done. So I'm working on a novel. So right now I'm editing that, and I guess you can follow my website, Elegant Bomb, for my writing, and my music is AndromedaTheArtist.com, which I'm writing an album and writing music for you, Tanner, which I'm gonna send you soon. Sorry, it's taking a while.
No, take your
And
time. Take
well,
your time.
thank you for your patience. It's just this holiday season. It's like there's just so many things going on. Anyhow, but yeah, you can check out my writing at elegantbomb.com and the music at AndromedaTheArtist.com.
How about you, Katie? Do you want to talk any more about your project?
Not tonight, thanks.
Katie is working on a project. That's all you need to know. But I do have one last thing. Last time I talked about my website, www.tannersTalesEntertainment.com. I just had the website up last time. I actually have my comic books in the shop now. The shop is up and running. You can buy issue 1 signed in physical form, or you can get the digital copy as well. So that's on my website. Frae is working on issue 2, and he gave me a potential date as to when we might have issue 2, and it might be the very beginning of February, so stay tuned for that. Maybe in the next podcast I'll have a little bit more.
You will have it for that February event.
Well, it looks like I'm going to have it on that February event. You heard it straight from the artist himself, which I don't know if he's here again, but I'm pointing at whoever's here, so. It could be anybody. From what I found out, it was Katie last time I pointed that way, so.
Yep.
But yeah, I'm super excited for that, and yeah, this has been a great talk. Caitlin, thank you for being our first ever guest on Indie Synergy Exchange. Hopefully you enjoyed your time.
No, I did. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to be on here. It was nice meeting all of you. I love meeting new creatives, so.
Totally.
No, that's what we're here for. Become a platform for indie artists. So this is for any indie artists and creators out there currently, like listening to this podcast. If you are an indie creator and you're looking for a platform, you can message us on our socials. We are the Dreamscape Empyrean. You can reach out to us. We would love to have you on the show, give you a showcase, let you show off whatever you're working on, try to get you boosted, because we all want to see other indie creators succeed. So, if that's you, if you are needing that extra boost or just want to come on the podcast and chat with these awesome people and meet more people like the amazing Caitlin up above, just check us out and reach out to us. So, yeah, that's what we're here for.
Totally.
Yeah, so definitely check us out. Indie Synergy Exchange. If you're watching on YouTube, be sure to subscribe so you don't miss any of our episodes. If you're listening on the audio format, which will be coming out soon if it's not already out now, we're going to publish all of our previous episodes up probably at once. So you'll hear it one way or another. Be sure to give us a rating. Make sure that you follow us on there, and whenever the new episodes drop, you'll be the first to know. And since Caitlin is our first guest, we'll let her sign us off today. Do you have any last words or encouragement for anybody out there listening to tie us all up to the end?
You say, sorry, you keep freezing. If for some
Oh,
reason
sorry.
we're getting towards the end and my computer keeps freezing for like several seconds, you
No, that's
say a
fine.
closing.
Yeah, did you want to say, like, give us a closing statement of encouragement for other artists and creators out there?
I feel like I'm on the spot now. Let's see.
If you
um,
don't want to, no pressure.
uh, hmm. Maybe I'll read a quote to close. Can I read a quote?
Yeah?
Okay. Let's see here. I should have had one marked.
Now the pressure's on.
Yeah. No, I
You got
mean, like I said before, just if you're going through a hard time, art literally saves lives. Like if you are feeling like you don't have passion in something, just experiment with different things, and you might find something that you really love. The best thing that you can do in life when you're struggling is to turn it into something beautiful. So that's what I would encourage people to do. So I don't know if I have a good quote. Let's see here. Oh, that's
I
not a
think you
good
definitely
closing
said
quote.
one.
Let's see.
No, that was beautiful.
Oh wait, this is a good quote. Okay, here we go. All right. I no longer fear my demons. They showed me their scariest face a long time ago, and I showed them mine. Now we walk together as one unstoppable beast.
Nice.
Very nice. I think that deserves one final clap. Thank you for listening, everybody. Thank you, Caitlin, for being here. And until next time, this has been Indie Synergy Exchange. And we'll see you next time, dreamers.